Cool gear. And that lets you save cook here.
True Form Life.
Green look on it.
Welcome to Exploring Mind and Body with Drew Tadia. Drew is an expert in nutrition, fitness, lifestyle, and more. And he wants to help you live a healthier, longer, and more active life. Now here's your host, Drew Tadia.
Welcome to another edition of Nationally Syndicated, Exploring Mind and Body. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and being a part of our True Form Life community. Today, I am bringing on Dorothy Keith. Always a pleasure to have on the show. Dorothy works with us through True Form. She helps facilitate our monthly membership group. She does one-on-one coaching. She does meal planning, all kinds of crazy stuff. She actually just started baking for other people as well, healthy baking. So she's got a full plate. Always a pleasure having her on the show. Today we're talking about self-care. We have 5 steps for you that we've broken down to help you take care of yourself. So we got lots of information coming at you, so sit back and enjoy. We got all that coming up on...
This is Exploring Mind and Body. Naturally improve your lifestyle one show at a time with your host, Drew Tadia.
Thanks so much for being here. I am taking the reins and I'm going to intro this show.
Let's do it.
Drew and I got back recently from a women's wellness show. We love speaking in front of people. It's one of our passions. We were asked to speak at this show about self-care. So Drew and I put together 5 steps to self-care. And after the presentation, we had so much great feedback. The ladies loved what we had to say. And we thought, why not share our tips?
We got step number 1. I want to jump into the show because we have so much to share.
Step number 1 is pretty straightforward. It's believing you are worth it. Pretty straightforward, but hard to do. But without believing in yourself and believing that you're worth it and being kind to yourself, the other steps that we have to offer here aren't going to fall in place. And it's easy to say it. It's easy to say, yeah, I'm worth it. But truly believing it takes practice over and over and over. And one way that we suggest practicing that your self-worth is through affirmations. And Drew loves affirmations.
Yeah, affirmations, they mean everything. The things that we continually see, the things that we continually repeat, those become our reality. So if you live in a negative state of mind and if everything happens to you, if you don't have control of anything, then your power is gone. So we need to take that power back. We need to work on positive affirmations repeatedly over and over again. Dorothy, you're going to mention these cards, affirmation cards put around the house, but that's something that we highly recommend because everything that you look at, everything that you pay attention to is continually forming our future. And if it's negative, then we're going to have a negative outcome. So we have to find positive ways and positive things to look forward to.
So if you can do one thing right now to improve your self-worth, it is to take a card, a cute card, or a piece of paper, a sticky note, whatever you have laying beside you right now, and write on it, I am worth it. And post it somewhere where you're going to see it every day, multiple times, on your bathroom mirror, maybe on your kitchen cupboard, on your fridge, on your computer, but post it somewhere where you're going to see it, because like Drew said earlier, just now, what we continually tell ourselves is what we believe. So if you continually see, I am worth it, I am worth it, then you will start to believe this, because we can't just say it one time and think, there I go, done. I'm worth it. It takes continually practicing that.
Make a conscious decision that as soon as the very first moment you get a chance to sit down with a pen and paper, you're going to write down, I'm worth it, and you're going to put it down somewhere where you're going to be able to see it on a regular basis.
We have affirmations all over our house, and they're really important to us, and they are so powerful. We've done groups, we do 10-day challenges or 21-day challenges, and we include affirmations in everything that we do in these groups. And people, after 21 days of affirmations or 10 days of affirmations, people are always shocked, surprised at how powerful affirmations are.
So that's step number 1, believing you're worth it. Step number 2, Dorothy, is...
Step number 2, make a plan. So this is where you have to take action and you have to put what your needs are into a plan. So it can be anything from scheduling your weekly workouts or making yourself a meal plan or setting aside some time to do a routine, a morning routine. Maybe it includes some breathing exercises, or maybe it includes some alone time with a book. Maybe it's a detox bath, but making a plan to set some time aside for yourself to be alone and do something for you.
True Form Life.
Before we get into the show, I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein. This is a plant-based protein supplement that we've designed ourselves at True Form. And the reason I designed it is because I felt like there was a need in the industry. Now, when I was traveling around the world, and I literally had a tackle box full of supplements and products and vitamins that did a whole lot more damage than good. So when I started doing more personal training and fitness classes, people would ask me what types of supplements I would recommend. And I always say, eat food. So that's why I've designed Complete Truth Protein around food. It's made with quinoa and hemp seeds. And one of the main benefits that it offers is improved digestion. So many of us deal with digestion issues on a regular basis. It also gives you a natural boost of energy. So if you head over to trueformlife.com/complete truth protein, we have tons of more details, videos, recipes, and everything you need to get going in the right direction with a good quality protein supplement. trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
True Form Life.
And we really need that time. We need that time to reflect. We need that mental clarity. We need to be alone with our own thoughts and emotions, because there's so many things being thrown at us through social media, the TV, the news. Everything's continually bombarding us, and we need to do something about that. So number 2 is making a plan, and that could be planning to be by yourself through a detox bath, for example.
Yeah, just making a time for yourself. You need to decide something that is going to be making you happy, something that makes you happy. So decide something that makes you feel grateful, something that makes you feel like you have self-worth, and relaxing, like a bath, for example. And it doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of time. But before we jump too far, Drew, into the time, which is step 3, I just wanted to say, to end step number 2 of making a plan, write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to write it down. And the thing is, when we come, there's a couple quotes that we both like. One of them, mine is, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
And that is close to mine, isn't it?
What's yours? Poor
planning creates poor performance.
Well,
isn't it close?
Well, of course they're close, because they're both talking about failing to plan.
Okay, they're close.
But regardless of what it is, like if you don't plan for yourself, if we look at our monthly membership, for example, or if we look at working with individual clients, the number one reason why people don't succeed in nutrition throughout the week is because they don't plan. And you could look at 98% of the people that we work with and we say, why didn't you get through your nutrition? Why doesn't your nutrition journal look great this week? Why didn't you stay on track? Just about every single time they say, I didn't plan my week in advance.
Absolutely, Drew. I don't think there's much more I can add to that, because it's so true. If you don't prepare, if you don't plan, then the outcome is unsuccessful.
And the same thing with our fitness as well. Like, we need to plan our week in advance. Like, you're going to plan where you're going to work out. Many people go to a gym. Maybe you work out at home when you have a place to work out in your home, but we have to plan the time we're going to work out at, and we need to plan the days of the week. If you plan that in advance, it's much easier to tackle this plan.
Sounds like playing football. Tackle.
But if you don't plan, for example, it just kind of floats around like, oh yeah, I'll get to working out when I get to it.
Step 3 time.
Let's do it.
We've touched on step 3 a couple of times throughout talking about step 2, but let's dive deeper into prioritizing our time. And what's interesting for me to think about, and what's interesting is people's reactions when I say we all have the same amount of time in a day. Because how we choose to prioritize our time or how we choose to use our time makes a difference between our successes and our unsuccesses.
Failures?
Failures. Failure seems like a really harsh word. Unsuccesses is a little softer.
I like unsuccesses. I like failures too. Failures, like, it seems like a negative word. So does like selfish, for example. Like, this is a good show to talk about being selfish or the benefits of being selfish. But if you look at a word like that, what was the word again?
Unsuccesses.
Or failures. If you look at a word like failure, like I believe many people are in the same boat, that you need failure without success. We learn so much more from failure. So failure shouldn't be such a negative word. Unfortunately, most of us consider failure being negative, but it should be a positive because it pushes you forward and it makes you better and helps you learn more things.
If we are going to be successful at taking care of ourselves, then we have to put ourselves first and prioritize time for ourselves in our day. So we have to put ourselves first on the priority list. And that's scary for a lot of people. But just think about, by putting yourself first, by taking care of yourself, by finding that time to meditate or do your breathing exercise or prayer, whatever you like to call it, or finding that time for a nice relaxing detox bath, or whether it is finding a few minutes to read a book alone. Just think about how much more you will have to give because you've taken some time to relax and you've taken some time to take care of yourself. So, sometimes if we have kids and we're not taking care of ourselves, for example, we're stressed out, we have all of these things going on, we're more likely to maybe raise our voices or get a little bit upset with our kids or our spouse, or be more agitated just in general towards other people or with our circumstances. But if we take care of ourselves first and are more relaxed, we'll have more patience, we'll have more energy, and we will then have more to give.
You know, the thing is we only have so many hours in the day. And it's true, like how you said at the beginning, that we all have the same amount of hours in the day, but we don't all have the same amount hours of, what can you say, like energy, for example. Like we have a limited amount of time. Usually it's in the morning and we have the most energy, like we have the most mental clarity. We feel the best. And you can tell or compare that to the end of the day when you're like mentally drained, for example, or you can't think of one more thing, or you don't really want to do anything. You don't have any energy. You don't have any excitement because the day has drained you. So if you get up in the morning and you tackle some of these things that we were talking about, usually in the morning it's the best time to do it. So again, if we look at that, we understand that we have a limited amount of hours in the day. So we need to prioritize, and that's the bottom line. We have to put the most important things at the top of the list. Otherwise, we just continue to push those priorities or those things that should be priorities to the side because we don't want to do them.
That's right. And that's where it comes back into play. Drew was talking about earlier about not pushing yourself down on the priority list. We make appointments all the time. We make hair appointments, ladies. We make nail appointments, pedicures, doctor's appointments, and we keep those appointments. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't take our own appointments with ourselves seriously. We will be the first to push ourselves down. So if we set aside a time for some morning workout, okay, this morning or tomorrow morning, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. and get my workout in first thing because I know that will make me have more energy in the day. But, telephone rings and, hey, can you, tomorrow morning, could you do this for me or could you do that for me? Then we drop ourselves down and we don't get our workout in.
True Form Life.
Just want to take a minute to mention Complete Truth Protein again. This is a protein supplement that we designed at True Form. We believe in food. We believe food heals, cures, and prevents. That's why this product is much different than your conventional types of products. Unfortunately, packed with chemicals, preservatives, toxins that our body doesn't know how to utilize, digest, and absorb. So that's why Complete Truth Protein can help improve your digestion and will offer a natural boost of energy. You can find more details at trueformlife.com/Complete Truth Protein.
True Form Life.
Yeah, and that goes back to feeling like we're worth, like, why don't we feel like we're worth it? Why isn't it important for you to get your workout in, or for you to meal plan, or to have a great breakfast? Like, start your day off with a great breakfast and see how much energy you have, or how much improved digestion, or how much more mental clarity you have. Because food also improves our mood, it improves our memory. There's so many benefits from food, not just overall health. It's very particular as well. So again, going back to prioritizing and setting those appointments, literally putting them in your calendar and sticking to them like you'd stick to any other appointment. But unfortunately, if it comes to ourselves, we're like, it's okay, I'll get to that later. But if it's for someone else, oh yeah, I'll do it right away.
And it's so interesting how we treat ourselves worse than we would even think about treating somebody else. So we would never think about canceling an appointment for somebody else or on somebody else, but we cancel on ourselves all the time.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. It's the same thing as like mentally and emotionally. The things that we think about are the things that when we go back to believing that you're worth it, the things that we say to ourselves or about ourselves, like, like we say, like, I'm fat, or I'm a terrible person, or I'm a bad friend, whatever it may be. Usually it's much more negative than that. But we would never say those things about other people, and we say those things about ourselves.
And that's why, if we go back to step number 1 in believing that you are worth it, that comes into play with everything else that we tell ourselves. Like Drew is saying, we can't afford to tell ourselves those negative things, because the law of attraction says that what we put out there comes back to us. So if we want to feel good about ourselves and feel worthy, we have to put every negative thought back into a positive thought, so that positive things will come to us and manifest in our lives.
You know, one of my favorite quotes that I'll always remember, one of my favorite authors, I actually had the privilege of having Dan Millman. He's the author of his most famous book is called Way of the Peaceful Warrior, but Dan Millman's been on the show a few times. And he said that if you face just one opponent and doubt yourself, you're already outnumbered. And I just thought that resonates with me so much. Like, there could be just 2 of you, and you don't even believe in yourself. The other person believes in themselves, and you don't believe in so you're on the other team. It's like
playing for the opponent.
Yeah, it's like you're on the other side, and you're there to win or survive or whatever it is, but you doubt yourself. And we continually doubt ourselves time and time again, which is why our first and most important tip is believing you're worth it, believing it's important to make a plan, prioritizing your time, and then, of course, moving on to the next step.
You ready for step 4?
Saying no and dropping the guilt.
That's right. So step 4, like Drew said, is to say no. And it's such a small word, a 2-letter word, but it is the most hardest word to say for some reason. We don't want to say no. And we feel guilty for saying no. And then we hold on to if we do end up saying no, we hold on to that guilt forever or for a really long time, which is just feeling that guilt over and over. It just keeps beating ourselves up over and over. It's like a slap in the face every time. It's just keep slapping yourself.
Well, it's funny, like one of the things that we talked about at this presentation is hanging on to the guilt. Like, the guilt is much more detrimental than the actual action. So let's say, for example, I use this example, like if you order pizza on Friday night, let's say the kids want pizza, the spouse wants pizza, you're like, no, I'm trying to live this healthy lifestyle. Everyone wants, so you give in, you order this pizza, you have a couple slices, and then for the next few days you're miserable. Like, I can't believe the negative thoughts just continue to go along in your head, and you say, I shouldn't have had the pizza. I gained weight. My whole nutrition is off. My workouts have been wasted. And so you're continually eating that pizza
over and over. Every negative thought and every ounce of guilt you feel, it's because you're still eating that pizza.
Right. So just think about the few minutes that you ate it. Maybe it took a half hour, 20 minutes to eat that pizza. But we continue to eat that pizza while we let that guilt fester for the next 3 days.
And the guilt itself is more detrimental than our health than actually eating the pizza itself.
That's right.
So if these things come up, then we eat the pizza and we move on with our lives. Forget about the darn pizza. It's gone.
That's right. Let it go. And it's much more challenging than just saying, okay, I'm done with it, move on. But I think if we bring these topics up and we bring it to your conscious level, not just subconscious, because usually that guilt and that festering is pushed way down. Hopefully you can understand, like, okay, I've done this. Now it's time to let go and move on and have a detoxing green salad, detoxing bath, get those nasty foods and ingredients out of your body and move on and have a nice meal and have a nice conversation and let it go and move on. And maybe the next time you say, we're not going to have pizza at the next gathering, we're going to have something else because I don't want to deal with the guilt.
That's right. And it goes back to what we were saying about always making sure our thoughts are positive. In this instance, it's more about taking the action. So instead of keep eating that bad pizza over and over and over, take some action towards something healthier, like a green smoothie or a green salad, like Drew was saying. And it's interesting how each one of the steps that we are saying, they kind of slide in together or mesh all together. And without one of the steps or without one of the pieces, the whole formula is going to be off, because we were talking about earlier about step 3, about prioritizing your time and putting yourself on the top of the list. And often that means saying no, right? To put ourselves at the top of the list, we have to say no to other things that come along and not feel guilty about saying no, because we are worth it to be on the top of our list.
True Form Life.
I just want to mention Complete Truth Protein here once again before I let you go. This is a protein supplement we designed ourselves, made with quinoa and hemp seeds, also maca and stevia. We have 2 different types of products. They both have tons of health benefits. You can bake the original bag, you can bake with. It's perfect for gluten-free flour. If you're celiac or gluten intolerant, we have tons of recipes on trueformlife.com, which include raw protein balls. People absolutely love these ones. We have pancakes, cookies, muffins, all healthy, all clean ingredients. Dorothy puts these together for us on a weekly basis. So if you head over to trueformlife.com, head over to the recipe section. We have all kinds of recipes on how you can use Complete Truth Protein. It's also a vegan and raw product. So if you have any intolerances or if you have any issues with digestion, this will definitely help you out. Once again, that's trueformlife.com/complete truth protein.
True Form Life.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because usually we say yes to the things that we don't want to do. And instead of saying no and being like, okay, I can move on and do something I'd much rather do, we say yes. And then we do these things that we don't want to do. And we could have just said no and moved on with our life. Like, there might have been a bit of guilt there, but that's why we want to talk about letting go of the guilt in the same regard. So if we don't, that goes back to, of course, and then we talk about prioritizing our time. If we put everyone else's priorities on top of ours by saying yes to everything, then we don't have any priorities. We don't have anything of ourselves on the list that's going to make us feel better, perform better, and move forward in a more progressive manner in the direction of taking care of ourselves. And then one of the things I wanted to mention there, we talked about pizza, for example. Like, pizza isn't the enemy. It's okay to have pizza once in a while. There are things that you can do to take better steps. For example, like make your pizza yourselves. I think that's a great way to bring the family together.
Pizza night.
Yeah, pizza night. You go grocery shopping with the kids, let them pick out the ingredients. You make it together, whether it's just you and your spouse, or maybe you're doing it yourself, whatever it may be. I think there's a lot of different ways there. You can get healthier pizzas, and there's ways that you can get around having like pizza night, or you can have pizza night. We're just saying that if all things fail and you kind of fall off track, it's time to move on and let go of that guilt.
Well, Drew, I was kind of hoping that you would share your monk story.
So there are these 2 monks, and they belong to a monastery. Like, every monastery has a little bit of different beliefs and different values, and they believe that they shouldn't touch women. And I don't mean sexually, I just mean touch physically at all. So 2 of these monks are traveling to the next town or the next village, and they're traveling together, and they come across a river. And there's this elderly lady, and she's having a hard time getting across the river. She doesn't know where to go. She can't find a place to cross. She's having a really hard time. So one of the monks walks over to the lady. He puts his hand on her shoulder, and he says, "It's okay." He said, "I can help you cross the river." She's ecstatic. She can't believe that these 2 monks have showed up at the middle of nowhere, going to help her cross the river. So the monk picks up the lady and puts her over his shoulder. And the 2 monks cross the river along with the lady. He puts the lady down as they cross the river. They wish each other goodwill, good way, and they carry on. And then the other monk, like about an hour later, the other monk is just festering. He can't believe that the other monk touched the lady. And then he just kind of explodes. And he says, hey, we agreed, we signed this pact, we agreed together in our monastery that we wouldn't touch women. I can't believe you picked up that woman and carried her across the river. We're not supposed to touch women. And then the other monk that carried the woman across the river, he replies, I put that lady down an hour ago. How long will you carry her?
Okay. Doesn't that just ring so true for all of the guilt that we carry? Like, just let go of it, leave it at the river and move on. I think we better get to our last tip, Drew.
Yeah, we got a few minutes before we need to wrap things up here.
So step 5 is expressing gratitude. And Drew and I believe so much in putting gratitude out into the universe or out into the world for it to come back to us. So we do multiple gratitude exercises ourselves every single day. And there's so much manifestation that goes on just by putting out your own gratitude and then being able to receive positive things in return.
Yeah, you know what the thing is, like most of us, not most of us, but many times when we have a negative state of mind or many times we go throughout the day, like we're a victim. Like we feel like everything's happening to us. Like that person cut me off. I'm in a bad mood because of that person. I didn't get a chance to finish my project, whether it's for school or whether it's for a job, because my boss didn't give me enough time. Like we're always and continually the victim until we change our thoughts. And I feel like that comes from gratitude. I feel like if we start the very seed of growing gratitude in our lives from the first thing we think of when we get up in the morning to more positive thoughts in the evening, we can change our whole lives by first beginning with thank you in different ways in our lives.
And I read this book that had a gratitude exercise related to what you said there, Drew, about from the moment you wake up, you start expressing gratitude. And it said in this book, it said from the moment that your feet hit the floor in the morning, you should be thanking or sending out thank yous. So whether it's thank you for the socks so my feet are warm, or whether it's thank you that I have my morning kombucha, or thank you for my breakfast, thank you for running water to brush my teeth, whatever it is, you continually send out thank yous into the universe.
Yeah, it really changes your whole day. You know what the thing is, like once I started doing this and being grateful the first thing I wake up, like first thing you wake up in the morning and you do it for a number of days, number of weeks, you automatically think of it. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Like I just wake up in the morning and like what am I thankful for or what am I grateful for just comes into my mind. You don't even have to put any effort into it.
When Drew and I first started diving deeper into our gratitude exercises, it was around the time that we were moving around a bit, and we had been sleeping on an air mattress for months, right, before we had a bed. And then we finally purchased a bed. We had a mattress, and we woke up that morning and we're like, I'm thankful for a bed. But it doesn't have to be these huge things. It can be these small things that we're thankful for throughout the day.
Yeah, and I think it should be these things, like these little things we don't think about, like socks or waking up in a bed. Like half the world doesn't wake up in a bed. Like we, in a large part, we're overprivileged in North America or many places in the world. But if you think about these little things that don't seem to matter, the tiniest little things that you're grateful for, those will turn into big things in your life.
So start small with your gratitude exercises, and then they will turn into something big. They'll manifest into something bigger.
Absolutely. Dorothy, thank you so much for joining us today. We do have to wrap things up. Always a pleasure having you on the show. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, Drew. Thanks for having me. It's always fun being on the show.
True Form Life.
All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Exploring Mind and Body. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for tuning in and sticking around till the end. We certainly wouldn't be here without you and your support. Hope you enjoyed Dorothy's conversation and the tips that we put together at this presentation not too long ago. Very important topic, especially at this time of year or whenever you're listening to this show. Self-care is important at all times of year. Putting ourselves first, prioritizing, making a plan, saying no, letting go of the guilt, being grateful. This is a way of life. I would say this is a true form way of life. But this is all kinds of things that we can do to work towards a better quality of life. If you want more details with Dorothy, she does coaching, she does baking, she does recipes, meal planning, all customized. She works one-on-one. So more details about what she does at trueformlife.com. All past shows are going up on exploringmindandbody.com. So if you ever miss a show, you can check out all past shows there. I also want to let you know we have a free app that you can download on any Apple device. So head over to your app store, search Exploring Mind and Body, download our show, and take us with you wherever you go. Super easy and convenient way to listen to Exploring Mind and Body. Once again, thank you so much for being here. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out of here. As always, I'm your host, Drew Tadia, in health and fitness for a better world. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Exploring Mind and Body with Trueform Life's Drew Tadia, fitness expert. To find out more about the show, Drew Tadia, or to listen to past shows, visit exploringmindandbody.com.